Now, tonight's cover story on NECN.
Come November, Democrats hope to win not only the White House, but to pick up a few seats in the Senate to increase their slim majority. One of the hottest Senate races in the country is in Maine. Incumbent Senator Susan Collins is being challenged by Congressman Tom Allen. Allen hopes national frustration with Republicans will help him unseat a popular senator. NECN's Marty McLean has our cover story tonight.
It's a long way from her hometown of tiny Caribou, Maine, but Republican Senator Susan Collins made her way to the Senate floor in Washington 12 years ago. Along with Maine Senator Olympia Snowe, she's considered a moderate voice. By staking out the middle ground, Collins says she can be more effective.
Throughout my time in the Senate, I have always worked across party lines to get a lot done. And as a result, I have a long list of legislative accomplishments in Homeland Security and national defense, in education, in healthcare.
Collins is the former chair of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. She says legislation she authored to reform the nation's intelligence community is one of her greatest accomplishments.
Michael Chertoff, the Secretary of Homeland Security, told me that that legislation has made our nation safer and has helped us to thwart attacks.
In Maine, Collins enjoys a high favorability rating, despite being affiliated with an unpopular president.
She has managed to stake out some areas of independence from the president over the last 8 years, which is important. She has an important position on an important committee, but she also pays a lot of attention to local affairs, and that's something that Maine voters like.
Mainers also like Congressman Tom Allen. He's been elected to 6 terms in the House serving southern Maine. He says he'd make a better senator and thinks Mainers need to see Susan Collins in a different light.
I'm going to ask the voters of Maine to peel off the label, moderate, take another look at Susan Collins' record, and take a good look at mine. And if they do that, they will see the contrast is dramatic.
Allen points to his opposition to the war in Iraq is one of those major differences.
Standing up to the pressure of the administration on the war was, an indication that I'm just going to do what I think is right for people in Maine.
Allen has also been very critical of Collins in her role as chair of the committee that handles government oversight. He says the senator ignored requests to hold hearings on waste and fraud by contractors in Iraq, and that cost the U.S. government billions of dollars. Collins says she did hold one hearing and found other ways to address the problem.
This is just politics at its worst. Tom knows that that's not an accurate charge. I am the one who worked again in a bipartisan way to create the Special Inspector General for Iraq reconstruction, to have auditors and investigators on the ground.
But Allen says the lack of comprehensive hearings calls into question her effectiveness, and he also believes Maine voters are ready for change.
The percentage of people who think in Maine, who believe the country is headed down the wrong track, is somewhere between 85 and 90%. This is a change election. And so if we're going to move away from the status quo in a different direction, I'm going to win this race.
Political experts say Tom Allen has to get voters to look beyond Maine when they cast their vote in November and think more about the balance of power in the Senate.
It's very possible that Maine voters are going to vote a lot more strategically this year, and that also people who wouldn't likely vote otherwise are going to show up precisely because they're drawn by the Obama campaign's message, and that could have a huge effect.
Thank you.
Senator Collins might be able to counter that effect with cash. She has a lot more money in the bank right now, $2 million more, and the results of a new poll that show her with a sizable lead over Tom Allen. But it's only July. The Maine summer and the campaign are both just starting to heat up. In Portland, Maine, Marty McLean, NECN.